Right, now we're going to move on to example 4. Describe the graph of the line that has y equals -3 as its equation and state the slope of the line. So first thing that we want to do with a question like this that's saying to describe this graph and state the slope is let's get a visual. So the equation that they give us is y equals -3. And all I'm doing right now is just getting a visual. So drawing this graph is going to be horizontal going through the point -3 on the y-axis, and I'll just kind of highlight that here in red so it's a little bit more bold. But this is what we get, what I have in red. So this is the graph of the equation y equals -3. It's a horizontal line, so we'll say, to describe it, we would say horizontal line that is parallel to the x-axis. Parallel just means that they would never cross or touch. Okay. And it has a slope of 0. So it's a horizontal line because when we graph it, we have this line that's just straight left and right. Okay, it's parallel to the x-axis, meaning it never crosses the x-axis, and it has a slope of 0. And we know that by the definition of horizontal lines, but you could go through and calculate the slope like we did in prior in this in one of the video lessons. Within Concept 5, if you go up further back at the beginning of the Concept 5 lesson, we discussed why the slope is 0. But those are kind of all the pieces that you would want to have for describing the graph of this equation and then describing the slope. All right, the last problem we're going to do, the last example is example 5. So example 5 says, use the formula for slope to calculate the slope of the line that passes through these 2 points. And so the 2 points they give us are -8, -5. And the next point is 12, -6. I'm going to label this first point I wrote down with x1 and y1. So -8 is my first x value, -5 is my first y value. 12 I'm going to label as my second x value, and -6 I'm going to label as my second y value. You can label them if you want to, but you don't have to. It does create a nice visual for plugging things in though, because the formula says take your second y value, subtract from it the first y value, divided by your second x value minus the first x value. So that means I'm going to take -6 minus -5. Then I'm going to take 12 minus -8. Know that you could have labeled these points differently. And so you might have said 12 was the first x value and -8 was the second. And then said that -6 was the first y value and -5 was the second. So you could have your labels flip-flopped in comparison to what I have, and you would still get the same answer in the end. Continuing with what I have though, -6 minus -5. As a reminder, this double negative really becomes a positive here. So it's really like we have -6 plus 5, which is -1. 12 minus -8, that again, that double negative really turns into this into a plus. 12 plus 8 is 20. So we have -1 over 20. There's no simplifying to be done here, and so we find that our slope is -1 over 20. All right, the next video is going to be going through a couple of the review problems. At this point, you would be able to complete the Concept 5 assignment, but I would complete some of the review problems first, check your answers, then move on to the assignment.